Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Davis here at home, and today we're going to be thinking about place value again. We're going to be thinking about place value, but we're going to be using it today to help us add. Yeah, that's right. We're going to be adding one more, and we're going to be adding 10 more to a value. Let's review place value. Place value is the value of where the digit is in a number. In a two-digit number, there's a tens position and a ones position. The tens position is used in place value to show the amount of tens in that number. And the ones position shows us how many single units there is in that number. So thinking about place value today is going to help us to really focus in as we're adding one more and 10 more. We're going to be seeing which position is changing. We're going to break down our whole numbers after we build them. We're going to kind of break them apart and think about how tens are added with tens and ones are added with ones, and then we can put it back together. So here we go. I've got some number cards that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to use my place value blocks. I'm going to build a value and then add one more and 10 more. And we'll think about what's changing every time we add one more or 10 more. Okay, let's go. Here's my first number, 26. And I know in the number 26, it's built with 2 tens and 6 ones. So let me go ahead and build that value, 26. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and write it down on my board. And I'm going to start with adding one more to 26. Now, I know in the number 26, that 6 is in the ones position, and I've already built 6 ones. And now I'm going to be adding one 1 to it. So let me go ahead and pull that down. And on my board, to show my work, I'm just going to add a little math caret. I like to work underneath my math problems to show my thinking. I'm going to be adding 1 to my group of 6, so 6 plus 1, and I know that 6 plus 1 equals 7. And I know I'm going to bring down this value, and I know in this number 26 that that 2 is not 2, but it's actually valued at 20, 10, 20. So I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to think about pulling these two together, tens plus ones. So I'm going to add a little addition symbol. 20 plus 7 is 27. And then I can complete this equation, 26 plus 1. Hey, that's kind of cool. I like that. Now, let's take that same 26. Let me build it again. But this time, I'm going to add 10 more. So let me go ahead and write that down, 26 plus 10. Now I'm going to break apart this number, this whole number, into tens and ones. And I know that 26 is built with 2 tens and 6 ones. So I'm going to break that up. And in this math problem, I'm going to be adding 10 more. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that 20 and that 10 and add those together just like I did on that board. 20 plus 10 equals 30. Now, I've pulled apart my tens, added those together, and now I have to add my tens and ones to get my whole number. So let's put 30 plus 6, which is 36, and now 26 plus 10 more becomes 36. Amazing. Okay, let's do a few more. So now let me grab this value, this number, whole number 45, and let me build it. Add a 10, take away a 1 to build 45. So this is our whole number. I'm going to write it on my board. And of course, I'm adding one more to 45. So if I'm showing my thinking, as I'm pulling 1, 1, I'm adding 5 ones and 1, 1, which is 6. I'm going to pull out the value of this 4, which is 40. 40 plus 6 equals 46. And then I can complete my equation up at the top. All right, now let's do the same thing, but this time let's do 45 plus 10. So let me go back to 45. And I'm going to write that one down. 45 plus 10, okay? So I'm going to break apart my 45. I know 45 is built with 4 10s and 5 1s. So I'm going to use a number bond to help me break apart that whole number. And now I'm going to add a 10 because I'm saying plus 10. So to show that I added 40 plus 10, or 110 to 40, I'm going to go ahead and write that down. And I know that 40 plus 10 is 50. And now if I pull this together as a whole number, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 50 plus 5 equals 55. So 45 plus 10 equals 55. That's really interesting. I love using place value to help me solve math equations. Okay, here's our next number, 31. So let me rearrange here. Take some 10s away, take some 1s away. Okay, 31. So in the number 31, I need 3 10s and 1 1. 31, and I'm going to add one more. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a 1 down. And this one's pretty easy. 1 plus 1 is 2. And I know you're saying, Miss Davis, I know I can add one more. Again, we're thinking about place value, and we're really thinking about breaking values apart and putting them back together, because when we use place value to help us add, we can use this when we're actually trying to solve harder math equations. So we're practicing really a strategy here of breaking apart, finding those 10s, adding 10s with 10s and 1s with 1s, and then pulling everything back together. It's a really helpful strategy. Okay, now I'm going to pull down that 30, because that 3 is actually 3 10s or 30. 30 plus 2 is 32. And voila, I have solved the math equation at the top. Now let's add 10 more to 31. So let me pull him back up and get 31 again. I'm going to use a number bond to break apart 31 into 10s and 1s, just like I have on the board. Okay, and then I'm going to be adding 10 more to that 30. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write that over to the side. 30 plus 10 equals 10, 20, 30, 40. And then I'm going to pull my 40 and my 1 together to get 41. And then I can solve the top equation also by breaking apart our whole number and adding 10s with 10s and 1s with 1s, and then pulling those 10s and 1s back together. We have a really great strategy going for us. Okay, let's do another one. let's build 17. So I'm going to really have to subtract some 10s here and pull, oops, come back here, little one. Okay, so here's 17, and of course we're going to do 17 plus 1 first. And I know that 7 is in the ones position. There are 7 ones, and I'm going to be actually adding 1 in there. And I know 7 plus 1 is 8. And then the value of this 1 is not 1 but 10. So I'll pull down my 10, and I will add my 10 with my 1s. So now I have 17 plus 1 solved because I broke apart 17 and then I added in that 1. Cool. Okay, now let's do the same whole number, except this time we're going to do 17 plus 10. Okay, so breaking apart 17 using a number bond to pull out the value of the tens position and the value of the ones position. Then I'm going to go ahead and add 1 10 because we're saying plus 10. Okay, then I'm going to add 10 plus 10, which equals 20. Okay, oops, I forgot to take, no I didn't. Okay, now we're going to put our 20 plus our 7 back together. Okay, now 27. So 20 plus 7, 27. 17 plus 10 is 27. That is really cool. Okay, now we're going to do, let's do one more for the road. This is going to be a really, really easy one. I don't even need to do this, but I want to. It will be fun. So we're going to build our value. I have a lot of ones to take off here. Let me go ahead and do that quickly. Okay. 10 plus 1. So there's no ones in the number 10, so let me add 1. That's easy. 0 plus 1 is 1. 110 plus 1 equals 11. Voila. Okay. Let's add 10 more to 10, which is easy. So in this one, if I broke that down into 10s and 1s, pretty easy, just pulling 1 10, 10 plus 10 or 2 10s equals 20. And there we go. Well, that is really a great strategy for when you're thinking about adding using your place value. So for adding 1 more and 10 more, we now have a strategy that we can even use later on when we're adding bigger values. Now here's what I want you to do for practice. Thinking about adding 1 more and 10 more, I'm going to have you gather, and we talked about this in our last math video when we were thinking about place value. I told you in, I believe it was packet 1 or 2, I can't remember, but I sent you some place value blocks on paper. They weren't colored like these, but they were the blocks. And in our last math lesson, you were going to pull that sheet out and then cut out your blocks and use them to build values. Now, if you didn't do that because you felt like you didn't really need to, go ahead and get that sheet with those place value blocks, cut those out. We also talked about if I didn't send you a place value mat in one of those packets, that you could make your own. And remember, in our last lesson, I showed you how to take a piece of paper, fold it into thirds, and then label it so that you could build in that mat. I do want you to use your counters in the same way that I used mine. So here's the activity you're going to do independently. Now the day I'm working on this is 5/1, so whenever you work on it, go ahead and label your date. And what I did, I just used this little symbol right here. Looks like a tic-tac-toe board. That's a symbol for number. And then next door to it, I scooted it over a little bit, 1 more, and then 10 more. And I went ahead and drew some lines all the way down, just kind of made some boxes. And then I wrote 29, 48, 74, 30, 51, and 90. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to build your value in your mat, just like I did. So if you were working on your place value mat with your blocks, you would build your 29. Oops. Okay, build your 29. And then you would add 1 more to it to get your total. And then take that 1 away and add 10 more to it. So I want to see in this assignment with your grid here, I want to see for each of these whole numbers, I want to see the number that would be 1 more than this whole number and the number that would be 10 more. Remember, you're thinking about how the place value will change if you're adding 1 unit or if you're adding 10 more. It's going to be changing the 1's position, and then it will be changing the 10's position. And I really want you to use your materials just like I used, because I think it's really helpful for you to see how you're pulling things apart and putting things together. All right, you've got some work to do. So go ahead and set up your spiral just like this. Get your materials ready and start adding 1 more and 10 more. And of course, as always, take a picture and show me your great work. Okay, until next time, have a good one.